Sidney Crosby and Mario Lemieux didn't play more than a half season together, unfortunately, but the bond that's there is unbreakable. And I've got something to say about that this morning that just might be timely. Good morning to you. Good Monday morning. I'm Dejan Kovacevic of DK Pittsburgh Sports. This is Daily Shot of Penguins. It comes your way bright and early every weekday. If you're into football and or baseball, I also offer daily shots of Steelers and Pirates in the same place that you found this. Nothing new really on the Mario wants to buy the team back front, which isn't to say that I haven't gotten updates on it. It's just that none of the updates reflect anything actually new. Nothing's changed. Status quo. And right there, I'm concluding the portion of this episode that is based on reporting. The rest of this is going to be just, well, hear me out. One thing that Mario's taken a lot of pride in his post-playing days, and I'm not guessing at this because he's told me this himself on multiple occasions, that he always believed as the owner and the steward of the franchise, and he never left out Ron Burkle, by the way. So he believed, and Burkle believed, that a big part of their responsibility was to make sure that the great players get supported and the great players, above all, stay in Pittsburgh. And as an example of this, I'm actually going to give you the one example where it didn't apply. That, of course, was when Marc-Andre Fleury was lost to the Golden Knights through the expansion draft. And I vividly recall exactly where I was in the Capitals arena in Washington when Burkle told me himself that he'd have given anything, any amount of money, to have not lost Fleury. It really hit both of them hard. But the nature of that process was you could only protect one goaltender, and Matt Murray had just, looked like the next big thing in winning two very big championships. And as much as we can all abide by revisionist history since then, the fact is every GM in the league at that time would have made the same move that the Penguins did. But the sentiment that was there, the hurt that they both felt over it, was real. And fast forward to now, when the rest of the core obviously is not long for the league and is getting a different kind of stewardship. Give credit to the Fenway Sports Group where appropriate, regardless of how you happen to feel about get rid of them, get what you can, etc. The fact is the Penguins are the Penguins, and they are the Penguins based in large part on the mold that's been set by Mario going back to his playing days in the actions that he influenced with Eddie Johnston and Tony Esposito and Craig Patrick. And then upon buying the franchise, continuing that as an owner beyond his second final retirement as a player, everything then became about Sid and Gino and Tanger and Flower and Jordan Stahl, and just keep building around them and keep supporting them and by all means pay them. And all of that happened. And to repeat it for effect, FSG's done the same thing. Sid, Gino, Tanger, all still here. All still in a spot where they can finish their careers in a single sweater. So here's the current team making moves, beginning, obviously, with the Jake Gensel trade. Marcus Pettersson. Other smaller ones have followed. Other bigger ones have been at least discussed. And the overwhelming perception, and I feel like I have to keep underlining that it's just a perception at this point, that the Penguins are going to enter this coming season in some sort of all-out rebuild or whatever, even though those moves have not occurred as of this morning on the 3rd of August. All of that, and even some of the ridiculous stuff that comes mostly out of Canada about, Sid wanting out, or Sid eventually is going to get traded and stuff like that. All of that happens to coincide with Mario wanting to buy the team back. And when I've spoken with a couple of the people who are close to that side, they happen to have the view that you can never waste a season in which you have Sid, whether he's 18 or 38 or anything in between. He's still Sid. And he is still, to his unbelievable credit, a point-a-game guy and legitimately one of the 10 best players in the NHL. Now, did these events really just coincide, or are they connected? Once more, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know. I don't have this answer, but I'm going to be equally honest with you in sharing that I can't stop thinking about it. Because, see, the funny thing is we have seen both sides of Mario as an owner. We have seen the pragmatic side, and that was pre-salary cap, when the Penguins were losing money and in all kinds of trouble as related to the arena and wanting to move into a new place and pushing government to try to find out a way to make that happen, at which point Mario and Patrick basically sold the team off, the individuals, by parts with very few exceptions. That was pragmatic. That was protecting the foundation of the franchise. But we've also seen him in other capacities be that guy who just says, hey, it's time to win. So which would he be in this event? What kind of owner would he be in, 2025 if he were to just buy the team like next week and take over for the coming season? Is Kyle Dubas his type of GM? Does he like what Dubas has done to date? Does he approve of it? Does he wish that there'd be more attention to the now rather than to the future? One more time, I don't have those answers, but my goodness, is it compelling to think about. When we come back, J1Q. This episode is brought to you by Bet Online, your number one source for all your summer sports needs this season, from Major League Baseball, golf, NHL, NBA playoffs. Get the latest odds and lines, including all team matchups, player props, odds on just about everything that's out there. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to get in on the action. Bet Online, where the game starts. Today's J1Q comes from Chris, who asks, DK, I'm super pumped that 66 is serious about getting back in. That said, why sell in the first place only to buy back at a loss? Was it economical or was it something else? Chris, I hate to keep punting on things that are real and tangible, but one thing I'm not going to do is confuse when I do actual reporting with what's speculation. I don't ever want those to get mixed together. So starting like I did with the last segment, what I can report about Mario's interest is that both he and Ron Burkle are serious, like drop dead serious. It's not an exploratory thing. It's not a feeling out. They want to do this. I hadn't been completely convinced about that until a couple of weeks ago. Now I really am. I have yet to pick up the tiniest trace of why. However, and this is where I'll now cross over into the other realm. I mean, it's Mario. Let's not overthink this. It's Mario being separated from the Penguins. It's Mario being separated from hockey. It's Mario existing in the exact same time frame that his retirement, his first retirement as a player, lasted. Remember? That was 3 years. And then he was like, man, I miss this. I miss the Penguins. I miss hockey. I've got to get back in. So here we are again. 3 years goes by. He lives out whatever it is that he's wanted to live out, does all his golfing and fine wine tasting, and, of course, the extraordinary charity work that he and Natalie have done in the Pittsburgh community for decades now. And then, he looks at the hockey team and says, boy, my heart's still beating over there. That's all I've got. That's all I've got. And I don't even have that, because even that's just speculation. But that's speaking from years of experience of knowing Mario, going back to his playing days, of covering his career, covering his entire tenure as owner. And I'd never leave this out, but getting to know the people who are close to him, the people who are closest to him. And on top of all that, I used the word pragmatic in the opening segment here today. And, investing in a sports franchise isn't all that bad. It's in a lot of ways superior to the stock market or other places you can put your money. And it's a whole lot more fun. You can have an awesome day on the NASDAQ and not get to lift the Stanley Cup. So maybe it's for himself, maybe it's for his family, his kids. I don't know. I just don't know. To answer your actual question, though, Chris, you said, why did he sell it in the first place? They got themselves a pretty nice deal. They were not really that eagerly looking to sell. And I know that for a fact. I also know that once they did get offered $900 million by Fenway Sports Group, they thought that was an above and beyond figure. And they jumped at it. There was no hesitation. So sometimes it takes a little while for regrets to kick in. I appreciate the question, Chris. I appreciate everybody listening to Daily Shot of Penguins. We're going to do another one of these tomorrow.